People often ask where is the nearest beach to Bangkok. Usually, I reply Bang San and Pattaya to the east, or Cha'am and Hua Hin to the south. However, the answer is nearer than expected, as Bangkok itself has its own coastline. Swadee krab, welcome to Thailand at large. Not many people realize that Bangkok has its own coastline. However, it isn't white sandy beaches, as there are only mangroves and shrimp farms. But it's still an area worth exploring, and that is what we're going to do today. Bang Khun Thian is Bangkok's southernmost district and the only one having access to the sea. The district is a narrow strip of land of about 5 kilometers between the provinces of Samut Prakan and Samut Sakhon and leads to the only seafront in Bangkok. The Bang Khun Thian Local Museum records the history and lifestyles of these communities that have lived here for several hundred years. It's one of the many community museums that have been set up by the Bangkok Metropolitan Authority to preserve cultural heritage of the old communities in Bangkok. Photographs and displays of the implements and products of these communities trace the origins of these communities, their lifestyles, and their commercial role in the area. Bang Khun Thian was an important port in the Ayutthaya era. It's located between the Chao Phraya River to the east and the Tajin River to the west. Several lateral canals linking the two rivers pass through Bang Khun Thian. The area became a link between Ayutthaya to the north and its principalities to the west and south. There are three major ethnic groups in Bang Khun Thian. The Mons, originally from Myanmar, have sought refuge here in the 16th century. They have preserved their customs and culture in a community around Wat Bang Kadi. The ubiquitous Chinese immigrants have settled here since 1810 and engage in fruit cultivation, pig and poultry farming. The Khmers from Cambodia have been here since the Ayutthaya days and engage in farming. These diverse communities settled in the area and engaged their own form of farming. A network of canals was dug for communications, irrigation and flood control. With land that's rich and fertile, the area was reputed to be Bangkok's fruit garden. Unfortunately, The environment is at risk from the industrial waste discharges from the factories in the surrounding areas and the constant coastal erosion. The area today resembles more of a water world than the Garden of Bangkok. The local museum is an excellent place for you to gain knowledge about Bangkok Thian and its history. And if you'd like to come and visit, its opening hours are 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. from Wednesday to Sunday. The co-location of the Klong Pitaya Longkorn School and the Bangkok Thian Local Museum is appropriate, as both institutions have complementary missions. The museum preserves the history of the district, its way of life, and natural environment. The school promotes a strong environmentally conscious message to the students, which is apparent in the exhibition area, in the open shed, and the other projects. The highlight of this visit is the school farm and nature project to the rear of the school. Here the school children set up an area with fish ponds and mangrove trees. The underlying message here is to love nature and preserve the environment. However, the model farms further on are on a grander scale. These projects are sponsored by government departments, the armed services, and private companies. There are ponds to rear fish, shrimps, and cockles. To illustrate preservation of the environment and self-sufficiency, the use of natural resources to produce our food. The entire area is linked by wooden walkways with huts that are meant as outdoor classrooms. While I was looking around the museum, one of the office staff suggested that I rent a bicycle in order to explore the nearby shrimp farms and mangrove forests. This sounded like a great idea. It only cost 20 baht for the day, though I did have difficulty finding one big enough for me. Well, I think the thing with me is I have to find a bike that's big enough for me because the majority of them are quite small for little kids. So this one looks about right for me, and I like the color, it's bright, relatively new, so let's see how this rides, you see. And I should be able to just get out of here. Today, some of these farming methods are still evident from the numerous shrimp farms on either side of the long road to the Bangkok Thian Museum. Seafood restaurants, popular with the Bangkok city residents, have cropped up to complement these farms. Destruction of some of the mangrove along the coast for shrimp farms over the last 3 decades have aggravated the erosion of the coastline. Along the way, you will pass many shrimp farms before going through a stretch of mangrove forest. The mangrove trees in Bangkok Thian serve a vital purpose in protecting the environment and have several functions. Serve as a link with the coral reefs and allow marine life to move between the mangrove and the corals. Providing a filtering system for groundwater by absorbing pollutants. Prevent soil erosion. Provide a habitat and refuge for marine and terrestrial life. Break up dead leaves into nutrients for marine life. So this is the start of a tunnel that's formed and lined with mangrove trees. And the sign says here, Umong Thang Rak, which is the tunnel of love. Well, I don't know how romantic it is, but let's go and have a look. I'm sure it's going to be very nice and picturesque. After 45 minutes, I came out onto a wooden pier that stretched out into the Gulf of Thailand. There was a wonderful sea breeze here, and it was really great to have the place to myself, even though it was a weekend. A short distance from the school, you will find Bangkok Sea View Restaurant. Although, to be precise, this is just a car park, and the restaurant itself is some distance away. This district doesn't have that many roads, so most people get around on boats. And that's exactly how we're going to get to the restaurant. I think we have a bit of a full house. The boat ride takes around 20 minutes, and it costs 50 baht for adults, and I think 30 baht for kids. Nothing unusual. Boat ride is smooth and gives you the opportunity to shoot some pictures along the canal. I think it kind of builds a bit of mystery. You know, all this just to go to a restaurant. Well, now I'm quite excited. During the 20-minute journey to the restaurant, you'll pass through a mangrove forest where you see all sorts of birds and get a glimpse into the lifestyles of the people living by the canal. See a lot of houses along this route, which is, you know, kind of, you see a sense of community. You know, people having their neighbors and their boats and everything. There are fishing communities on the banks of the waterways, and they make their living off the marine life here. This is one of the places in Bangkok where the traditional way of life can still take place. These stakes, driven into the seabed, are shellfish farms. The clams stick to the wooden stakes, and the farmers will pick them off periodically. And you know, I thought we would be one of the few people who know about this restaurant and going on this secret, hidden gem of a place, but we've got a full boat full of people, so maybe not such a secret after all. Well, I'm looking forward to it, to say the least. Ah, there it is, the restaurant. I see it. Okay. Wow, it's really right on the water. It's all on stilts and just lifted up. Oh, that's so great. Right on the sea. All right, we finally made it to the restaurant. I would say that's the longest distance between the restaurant's car park and the restaurant that I've ever seen. But, you know, that just builds to the whole mystery, the build-up of it. And I'm glad we're here. All right. Bang Thian has Bangkok's only seashore. Its coastline of about 5 kilometers is lined with mangrove forests and shrimp farms. And looking out to sea, you should spot a demarcation marker for the boundary between Bangkok and Samut Prakan. Another reminder that all of this used to be on land. The good thing about this restaurant is that you won't hear too much noise around, as it is built on the sea. So it is quite a good choice for a relaxing afternoon with some seafood. All of these fresh ingredients come from the sea of Bangkok, incredibly. And this is a direct result of environmental preservation and development efforts that's been going on in the past few years, especially in the area of mangrove forest restoration back to its natural state. And even though today's trip is only a day trip, I definitely think it's worth exploring. So I hope you've enjoyed checking out Bang Thian with me today, and I hope to see you again next time. For now though, สวัสดีครับ